Imagine yourself walking into a room full of people, but all there is silence. All because people are glued to the phones in the palm of their hand, stuck in their own little bubble. This is now considered normal, but 30 years ago, this was not the case. Technology is all around us, originally intended to keep people connected. This quickly changed as it started to develop. Instead of it being used for communication, it became a tool for entertainment, instantly taking control of the way we think, feel, and interact with others. This speech intends to help you realize and understand how devices damage our mental health, along with our ability to connect with the people around us. As technology continues to advance, we need to pay attention to its impact on our mental and our social interactions. And then by the end of the speech, I hope to give you a couple of ways to create healthier habits with technology. So let's start with what technology is doing to our minds and how it affects our mental health. All too often, people find themselves constantly checking their phones for new notifications, and that addiction can lead to technology stress increasing in kids or adults. According to the studies by the American Psychological Association, 8 in 10 people are constantly addicted to the device, leading to poor sleep schedules, stress, and anxiety. But that's not the worst of it. With social media on the rise, more and more people are becoming addicted. This addiction can lead to people comparing themselves to what they see on the internet and to images and people that they see on the internet. I notice my device's grasp on myself. I often catch myself scrolling on Instagram Reels or playing video games late at night when I have other responsibilities to do. An example of this would be if I had all weekend to write this speech and Tuesday to write it, but I ended up staying up till 1:30 to write this speech. Meaning I put my wants over my needs, causing an unneeded amount of stress. Now that I informed you about what screens can do to our minds, let's examine what they can do to our interactions with other people. All too often, people tend to use their phones instead of having a face-to-face conversation with someone else. This can impact our relationship with the people we have. People usually are distracted by their phones either because they have too many notifications or they're just addicted to social media and other stuff that they're doing on their phones. According to the Pew Research Center, nearly 70% of teens or young adults report their phones often distract them from spending time with family members or friends. This means that even though people are physically there, they're not always mentally engaged in the conversation. I'm sure you can think of a time when you were hanging out with a friend or a family member, and instead of you sitting there and talking to them and having a good one-on-one conversation with them, you ended up sitting on your phone because it was too awkward as they were on their phone or you were priorly on your phone. This can deter us from having good conversations with our friends and family. This can cause us from having poor conversations with our family. Every day I notice this in my own house. I'll walk upstairs and see both my parents sitting on the couch on their phones, and instead of talking to each other or with someone in the room, they tend to just sit on their phones and do whatever they're doing. So not only do devices affect people's mental health, but they also change the way we interact with people and build strong relationships with them. Now that I mentioned the impact of technology on our mental health and our relationships, let's explore ways we can build healthier habits. According to Johns Hopkins Medicine, one of the first steps to setting boundaries with technology is to limit your phones before bedtime or at the dinner table, or even setting your phone on silent. These boundaries will help you take a break from the constant stimulation of your device, reducing your stress and anxiety. Another way to create healthier habits with technology would be to use it for its intended purpose, rather than spending hours on social media, or you could spend time with a relative or family, texting a relative or family friend that you haven't seen for a bit. You could also replace technology with other activities like sports or board games or just hanging out with a family member. This will give your brain a break, providing real-world experience along with possibly making social connections with others. Now that I discussed the importance of regulating technology, let's start to wrap this up. Technology is a significant part of our everyday lives, but that doesn't mean that it has to take control of it. And now that we've seen how technology affects our social and mental health, and how it changes the way we interact with others, and now that we have figured out how to create healthier habits, but in the end, we are the ones in control, and over our screens. So let's put down our phones, put the TV remotes away, and take control of our lives.